Welcome to Digital Marketing 101. My name is Stéphane Hamel, and I'm here to tell you about the concepts and techniques of digital marketing. To give you a quick primer on my background, I'm a digital analytics and marketing consultant with 25 years of online experience, international speaker, teacher, and recognized industry expert in the field of digital analytics. Whether you're looking to embrace the digital world and want to know more about digital marketing, or simply become a better digital marketer who wants to round up your skills, I'm here to make that happen. During this course, you are going to gain deep understanding of the fundamental of digital marketing. Along the way, you will learn how it compares and contrasts to traditional marketing concepts, understand how you can excel at every step of the customer lifecycle, look at today's marketing technologies, and even take a peek into the future and much more. By the time you complete this course, you should be able to develop a thorough understanding of what is digital marketing, understand the evolutionary path to digital marketing, leverage techniques to nurture a digital culture within your organization and the proper governance structure, identify areas of opportunities in your digital marketing strategy, identify tactics you can use at every step of your customer lifecycle, understand the impact of technology, mobile, and Internet of Things on today's marketer's role, see where analytics fits in the marketing optimization process, compare and contrast a channel-centric versus a customer-centric approach, especially given the reality of online impacts toward offline activities. And finally, look at what's next for digital marketing. In other words, you'll be developing the breadth of understanding of digital marketing concepts. In this course, we have 13 lessons broken down in 4 sections. There is going to be a lot of room for real-world examples so you can get a feel of how this knowledge applies to day-to-day marketers' activities. Follow the practical advice provided in each module. Complete the quizzes and use the slides and other course material at your disposal. Do all of that and I can guarantee that you will be well on your way to become a top digital marketer. Even if you have previous experience in digital marketing, there should be a lot to solidify and round up your marketing skills. As the course progresses, you will dive into some areas you have probably not encountered before. So join me in this journey toward becoming a digital marketer. In section 1, we look at the fundamental concepts of digital marketing. We begin with an introduction to digital marketing. And despite what we might think, the foundations of marketing haven't changed that much. In this section, we look at what's similar and what's unique about digital marketing, or DM for short. You have enrolled in the class because you want to learn about digital marketing. But what is it exactly? How is digital marketing different from traditional marketing? In this lesson, we will review some fundamental concepts of marketing which are readily applicable in today's digital economy. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define digital marketing, identify techniques to connect to customers using the 5 P's of marketing, identify different techniques to acquire customers through paid, own, and earned digital media, discuss the customer's decision journey, and identify techniques to tune your marketing strategy. Defining digital marketing. What is digital marketing? Whether you call it online marketing, internet marketing, e-marketing, or digital marketing, if you search Google for a definition of digital marketing, you will find over 120 million results. Let's turn to Philip Kotler, author, consultant, and distinguished professor of international marketing at Northwestern University's School of Management. Kotler is widely regarded as the father of modern marketing and defines marketing in this way: the science and art of exploring, creating, and delivering value to satisfy the needs of a target market at a profit. Marketing identifies unfulfilled needs and desires. It defines, measures, and quantifies the size of the identified market and the profit potential. It pinpoints which segments the company is capable of serving best, and it designs and promotes the appropriate products and services. Too often, people define digital marketing around the promotion of products and services using digital media rather than a more holistic approach covering the customer experience, relationship development, and stressing the importance of multi-channel integration. What we should remember here is that digital marketing is fundamentally not different from marketing. The only difference here is the fact we leverage digital technologies and media to achieve our marketing objectives. You can use digital, online, or internet marketing to address the marketing practices that are carried out using digital means. However, at the core, digital marketing involves a mix of 5 main business activities known as the 5 Ps. You can leverage the digital boom to integrate digitization on the traditional 5 Ps activities and attract more customers. The 5 Ps of marketing. Fundamentals of marketing, the 5 Ps of marketing. Some people might say there are 4 Ps, 7 Ps. As with many things, the important point here isn't the fact there are 4, 7, or 12 Ps. It's the thought process you'll go through while reviewing them. For sake of discussion, we will focus on 5 Ps. Since we want to be customer-centric, we put the first P, people, at the center of all of our marketing activities. The other Ps are price or payment, products, promotion, and place. Let's look at how digitization is incorporated in each of those 5 Ps. The first P that we look at is price. We can think of an e-commerce website where you can purchase online using your credit card. In fact, it was so important that in 1999, Amazon put a patent on the one-click concept. This patent just recently became available to all, so anyone can now put a one-click purchase button on their website. But also think how Apple Pay and Google Android Pay are changing the way we can pay with our mobile phone. Or think about the subscription model where you pay just a small amount every month to benefit from a tool or service that would otherwise cost much more. If we push the envelope a little bit further, we can think of Internet of Things and look at the Amazon Dash button. Essentially, it's a specialized little device that is connected to the internet. You can put it wherever it makes sense, and just from the press of a single button, it will reorder whatever supply it is made to purchase. And those will be delivered to you through Amazon. The second P we want to look at is product. Think of how digital is transforming the way you use and consume different products. In the sharing economy, people can rank and evaluate products, which will have a huge impact on the decision process of other people looking at those same products. In the subscription model, instead of buying in a classic way, we can actually rent a service. In the peer-to-peer economy, the users of a product become part of the product experience itself. If we push the envelope a little bit further, we can look at wearable technology. For example, Google and Levi's teamed up to create some clothing which is connected to the internet and with which you can interact through voice or gesture. The third P we look at is promotion. The 2017 eMarketer forecast noted that ad expenditure has surpassed TV for the first time, and the gap will widen by roughly $10 billion in the upcoming years. So although the pace of change is not as fast as before, the total media spending is still increasing. By 2021, we expect that digital will take about 50% of the available budget for promotion. The next P we want to look at is place. Of course, when we think about place in a digital world, we might think about our website, mobile application, and social media presence. But there's more to it. There's the mobile aspect made possible through digital. People are using their smartphone to search. In fact, they might be sitting at home and they will use their smartphone to search what they just saw in a TV commercial. When walking around in the city, they will look at what is around them. They will use their smartphone to find local businesses, restaurants, and activities they can do. There's things they want to do on the spot. You might have used your smartphone to watch a YouTube video, for example, on how to do something specific at that moment. And then there's the purchase process. So people are shopping online. In fact, they use their smartphone to look at the products they are looking in store and search for it online. And of course, payment and e-commerce transactions are ever increasing every year through their smartphone. The last of our 5 Ps is people. As you might have noticed, people is at the center of the other 4 Ps. There's a clear tendency to merge online behavior data typically provided through web analytics and social media analytics with back-office data such as customer relationship management and sales. This creates the false impression that everything can be measured and that if we could store all of those touchpoints, we would gain a 360-degree view of the customer. Despite what vendors might try to sell you, it is virtually impossible to achieve a perfect picture of any one customer. There are too many factors and the consumer landscape keep changing, be it their needs, behavior and attitudes, personality and psychographic, as well as pure and simple technological landscape. Marketers can leverage a comprehensive digital CRM to gather details about their consumers. This will help create consumer profiles so that they can plan their strategy for a personalized treatment of the consumer for either sales or support. The concept of the 5 Ps might be a little bit different whether you're marketing your products or marketing your services. Example of services includes financial services like online banking, personal accounting, car rental, or maybe planning your next vacation. Marketing your product is different from marketing your services, but is it really that different? Despite the aspects of being tangible or not, being performed versus being produced, being delivered versus distributed or consumed, being customized or not, having an inventory or not, maybe regulations are slightly different, and a service cannot be returned or undone. But services are also highly dependent on people. Of course, there are some differences, like the intangible aspect and how it is performed or customized. But at the end of the day, as a marketer, you still want to ask the right questions. Who is the customer? What is the customer's need? Which benefits are to be provided? Which resources are needed? What does the service entail, and how will the service be performed? There's really a blurring line between products and services. More products are packaged as services, like long-term car rental or the Red Bull replenishment we've seen earlier. More services are marketed as if they were products, like the perishable or monthly and consistent nature of your cable TV package. Although what is being marketed is different, the concepts are quite similar. This concludes the topic of the digitalization of the 5 Ps and how marketers can leverage it to acquire new customers or connect with existing ones. Next, you will learn about the broad marketing channels categories paid, owned, and earned media. Techniques to acquire customers. Acquiring customers using paid, owned, and earned media. When we think about ways to acquire new customers, there are a plethora of tactics which can be categorized in 3 groups: paid, owned, and earned media. Paid media are any third-party advertising channels where you pay to show your ads to an audience. This includes paid ads on search engines or social media, website banners, sponsored articles, and such. The second group, owned media, are those media outlets where you have complete control over the content and features. Those are, for example, your own website, social media accounts, and mobile applications. And lastly, there's earned media, other places where people can talk about you, a blog post on social media, or through reviews on sites like Amazon, TripAdvisor, and many more. Simply put, customers will hear about your brand in three ways: indirectly through paid media, directly through owned media, or through word of mouth with earned media. Understanding those subtle but important differences will impact a customer's life cycle, their decision journey. The customer decision journey. Defining the customer life cycle. Amazingly, when marketers are asked about their customer life cycle, many have never thought about it, or worse, don't know what it is. You can use a classic approach of attract, engage, convert, and retain, which applies in most cases. I added advocacy, which in today's world of social media will close the loop and attract new people into the cycle. Let's look at an example for the automotive industry. Attract, as the name suggests, relates to all the marketing activities aimed at making your brand more visible. The engage phase are the activities visitors do as part of their decision process. Read about your product on your site or on other sites, use a car configuration tool, etc. Convert is reserved for the activity that most closely send a signal of business outcome. Typically, those could be an e-commerce transaction, but it can also be a lead, finding the nearest dealer, contacting human resources for a job, and other activities. Retain are all the things that happen once you are a customer: subscribing to a newsletter, using a knowledge base, requesting support, scheduling a car inspection. Advocacy are word of mouth and social media activities conducted by your customers, doing press reviews, ratings, and similar earned media activities. The customer lifecycle will put a name on each of those steps and define a common language with the marketing team and other stakeholders. Although this classic marketing funnel approach is sometimes challenged, conceptually, it is still a very important element of marketing. In 2009, McKinsey published an interesting paper where they essentially said that the linear funnel that we knew about in marketing doesn't really work anymore. It's more like a cycle. If you think about your own consumer experience, when you want to fulfill a need or a desire, you will go online and you are in the initial consideration set. You look at the brands that you were exposed to recently or the brands that you remember. While you do that, you are in the active evaluation phase where you might stumble on new brands, new products that you didn't think about initially. Or you might abandon some of the brands that you initially thought about. Eventually, you will reach a point where you engage with some specific brands and you will consume their content, videos, you will look their social media, reviews, and things like that. The trigger point, the moment you decide to make a purchase, whether it's online or offline, doesn't really matter, but there's a moment of purchase. You make a decision. And based on this experience, there will be different triggers, different moments where you contact customer service and things like that. You enter the loyalty loop and you might actually do additional purchase. You might even contribute to the consideration set of other people by leaving reviews and comments. And this goes on, and this is more representative of the longer-term consumer experience with a brand. There's a similar concept from Google called Zero Moment of Truth, or ZMOT. The concept is similar. The path isn't linear anymore. It's a multi-channel, multi-device, and it's interrupted by triggers or moments. Keeping in mind the consumer decision journey isn't linear anymore, but a circular process in which consumer keeps actively evaluating the product by gathering information, and this goes on until the decision is made. This highlights the importance of executing with excellence at every moment. Excellence starts early in the marketing process with techniques such as segmentation, personas, and persuasion scenarios, as we will see next. Techniques to tune your marketing strategy. The days of spray and pray are long over, and tuning your marketing strategy involves various techniques. Creating personas which represents the attributes, needs, and wants of your audience. creating segments to address the right message at the right time over the right medium and to the right audience, and crafting what we so each persona can easily find their way toward a goal. Now let's discuss these strategies in detail, starting with segmentation. Segmentation is an important concept in marketing. Instead of looking at your audience as a monolithic block, it is best to divide them into subgroups based on shared characteristics. Those characteristics can be the location where they live or work, demographic attributes like gender and age group, life events like buying a first car or welcoming a new baby in the family. Whether they use a smartphone or a tablet, or any other creative ways of segmenting which makes sense for your own specific organization. Some attributes can be inferred, like assessing wealth and education based on census data, or they can be first-party data, such as when your customers will provide relevant details about them. Use customer segmentation to develop relevant marketing and user experience flows. In fact, segments are directly tied to another marketing concept, personas. Once we've looked at segments, the next logical step is to look at personas. In user-centered design and marketing, personas are fictional characters created to represent the different user types that might use a site, brand, or product in similar way. Marketers may use personas together with market segmentation, where the qualitative personas are constructed to be representative of specific segments. The term persona is used widely in online and technology applications as well as in advertising. Personas are useful in considering the goals, desires, and limitations of brand buyers and users in order to help to guide decisions about a service, product, or interaction space, such as features, interactions, and visual design of a website or mobile application. Remember, personas aren't perfect representations of your customers. They should highlight and contrast their major attributes. This helps put yourself in the shoes of your customers and build persuasion scenarios which will pave the way toward conversions. Persuasion scenarios are like scent trails. The key to success comes in using techniques that lead visitors down an information scent trail, not unlike that of a hunting dog following the scent of its prey. Research on this topic started as early as 2001 at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center. The study indicated that humans track information in a similar fashion to the way animals follow a scent. They begin at the center and they follow a trail based on its information scent. If the scent is sufficiently strong, the surfer will continue to go on that trail. But if the trail is weak, they go back to the hub. People repeat this process until they're satisfied. The scent trail represents the optimal path to conversion for a given persona. Empowered with segments, personas, and scent trail, you are equipped to tune your marketing strategy. If we want to be customer-centric, create scent trails, and design for persuasion, we should put ourselves in the shoes of our customers and strive to understand their motivations and satisfaction factors. If we balance those against our business imperative, we can create a digital experience that will cater to the right audience at the right time, the right place, and to answer their needs. So we will look at the customer perspective. Who are our customers? What they want to accomplish? And are they successful? But we balance that with our own strategy. Who do we want as customers? Can we help them? And is it aligned with our strategy? The concept of persuasion design is often applied to website design, but it can also readily apply to other aspects of marketing, such as when creating display ads banners. Let's look at the JetBlue ad banners example. Every successful advertising campaign contains a clear and compelling call to action, or CTA. This button tells the user what the next step is and how they get from the advertisement to the JetBlue website, moving them further down the funnel and closer to the point of conversion. This is referred to as the scent trail, the path you would like the targeted audience to follow. When it comes to selecting a CTA, you want to focus on language that is relevant to your brand, service, or products and completely obvious to the user. Anything ambiguous can confuse the user, and even if they click on the CTA, Arriving at an on-site page that doesn't meet their expectations won't result in a conversion. That being said, you want to avoid generic language like learn more or read more. While this can be relevant to what you're promoting, it isn't unique to your brand or even your industry. JetBlue used language tailored to their industry and brand in their digital ads. Let's summarize what we've covered so far with another example. BRP is the manufacturer of the Can-Am Off-Road. They are on a mission to create new ways to explore your world. And their Can-Am Off-Road vehicles are marvelous pieces of design and technology. Their customer lifecycle can be resumed with the classic attract, engage, convert, retain, and advocate. But the reality is probably closer to McKinsey's consumer decision journey. People shopping for this type of vehicle are gleaning information from multiple sources, online or not, and exploring other compelling brands like Honda ATVs, Polaris Off-Road, or John Deere Gator utility vehicles. The concept of Centrail applies early on in the user experience, such as Google AdWords campaigns, which will automatically provide info about the nearest dealer and present specific call to action like build and price, promotions, find a dealer, and such. As we have seen in this lesson, putting the customer at the center of our marketing practice and using simple, proven techniques will make it easy to leverage digital media. Key takeaways. This concludes the lesson on fundamental concepts of digital marketing. In summary, the digital aspect of marketing only means technologies and media are leveraged in day-to-day marketing activities. The 5 P's of marketing, price, promotion, product, place, and of course people, applies to the digital world. And your marketing strategy rests on 3 pillars: paid, own, and earned media. If you understand your customer journey, segments your audience, and create centrals, you will be able to adapt your marketing strategy at every step of the way. In section 1, we talk about the fundamental concepts of digital marketing. In lesson 2, we look at the history of digital marketing. In this lesson, you will learn how digital marketing has evolved over the years and understand how it impacts our everyday lives. Sometimes it's possible to leapfrog and jump right to the latest trends and technologies, while some other times there are necessary steps to follow in order to gain the required experience and maturity before leveraging the latest concepts. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the evolution of digital marketing, explain the evolution of social media marketing, discuss the marketing technology landscape. Let's have a look at the evolution of digital marketing since its early days in the 1980s. The evolution of digital marketing. The beginnings of marketing technology can be traced back to the 1980s, when computers became sophisticated enough to store a huge volume of customer information. In 1986, ACT, a contact and customer management company, introduced the first database marketing software to the business world. It was essentially a digital Rolodex, only it could store large volume of customer contact information. What we call the web was created in 1989, and by 1995 there were already 16 million internet users. In 1998, AOL, a glorified version of the older built-in board system concept, was a dominant player. Over 40% of people on the internet checked the site regularly and spent up to 30 minutes on it. The concept of a customer relationship management computer system exploded in the 1990s. While the initial internet was strictly non-commercial in nature, it took a turn in 1993 with the appearance of the first ad banner. Once it took a commercial turn, things accelerated, and less than a year later, the first e-commerce transaction was completed. By 1999, the crowded CRM landscape consolidated significantly, and Salesforce pioneered the concept of software as a service. Instead of requiring local and costly infrastructure, marketers the complexity to an internet-based service better suited and specialized for the task of maintaining customer data and automating some marketing tasks, so marketers could continuously improve their understanding of customer needs and prioritize their experience. By the year 2000, there were 558 million internet users worldwide. But things took a turn in March 2000, when the speculative dot-com bubble hit its peak, then burst. By the mid-2000s, digital behavior changed the power dynamic between buyer and seller dramatically. Users began researching products and making decisions about them online and on their mobile phones before ever talking to a salesperson. In 2004, Google goes public, Facebook goes live, then it's YouTube, Twitter, and Amazon sales reached $10 billion. The marketing technologies and concepts improve, and the ability to conduct experiments, called split test, allows online marketers to test, measure, and improve faster than ever. The iPhone was born in 2007, and it transformed the concept of smartphone. Innovation continued with the launch of Spotify in 2008 and marketplaces like Groupon. Marketing automation from Salesforce, Marketo, Pardot, and others enabled marketers to launch multi-channel campaigns, segment their audiences, and serve up highly personalized content. It was an attempt to gain control over what some experts dubbed the World Wild West. Those were the first technology built by marketers for marketers. But while marketing automation was an important development, it couldn't adapt fast enough to the exponential evolution of consumer channels and devices. Social media, for example, was still in its infancy in the mid-2000s. Marketing automation did not plan for social to emerge as one of the leading marketing outlets. To meet the channel-specific needs of marketers, new, highly specialized software companies began popping up. By the end of the decade, the marketing technology landscape mushroomed with solutions for social, mobile, search, and analytics. But this proliferation of choices wasn't without its consequences. Over the past decade, consumers have transformed from being tech-savvy to tech-dependent. As a result, they expect a seamless user experience from brands across every device and every digital channel. This expectation has prompted both a diversification of marketing technology and a consolidation of it. In 2011, web usage surpassed TV viewership among youth, and some people were spending as many as 11 hours per day on the internet. Today's marketers are plagued with a paradox of choice. Despite the slew of solutions at their disposal, they're more stumped than ever over what tools to incorporate into their marketing technology stack, why they're important, and how to organize internally around technology to deliver meaningful results. A survey revealed that only half of the marketers feel highly proficient in digital among youth. And some people were spending as many as 11 hours per day on the internet. Today's marketers are plagued with a paradox of choice. Despite the slew of solutions at their disposal, they're more stumped than ever over what tools to incorporate into their marketing technology stack, why they're important, and how to organize internally around technology to deliver meaningful results. A survey revealed that only half of the marketers feel highly proficient in digital marketing. Worse, only 4 out of 10 think their company marketing is effective. They feel the pressure to show return on investment on marketing spend. Things continue to evolve quickly. Mobile exceeded desktop internet usage 2 years ago, and in the big data era, we see the emergence of predictive analytics, machine learning, and the Internet of Things, which will continue to be disruptive concepts. The evolution of social media. Most of today's social media stems from a few core technologies: chat, newsgroups, file sharing, essentially user-generated content organized around topics of interest. Those concepts have been repackaged with a better user experience and enhanced with more intelligence thanks to big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. There are a few dominant players we all know: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, but there's also a multitude of smaller or niche solutions. Beyond those platforms, many players are integrating social at the core of their offering, like TripAdvisor, for example, which includes comments from their users, or even how GoPro is tapping on its own brand advocates to create a unique experience. A host of social media ideas emerged over the years. Some went belly up, others were swallowed by bigger fish, and although we don't know in which shape or form, we expect the social media landscape will continue to shift. The fast-paced MarTech landscape evolution. The advancement of so many transformative new technologies over the last 5 to 10 years is shaking up the modern marketing world. From the emergence of wearable technology, Internet of Things, chatbots, and mobile payment, disruption is taking place nearly everywhere we look. All of those technologies open new opportunities to meet and surpass consumer expectations. However, this is only possible if marketers can keep their skill set up to date and integrate new ways of working into existing business processes. The technological advancements we're seeing is not linear. Instead, it is occurring rapidly in the form of major leaps, with consumers and pioneering tech companies leading the charge. Internal politics and organizational culture of many businesses makes it difficult to keep up. In fact, consumers often have more advanced technology in the palm of their hand and much greater expectations than the pace at which businesses are able to adapt. The proliferation of solutions means marketers should have a decent understanding of the marketing technology landscape. The marketing technology landscape. So this evolution of the marketing technology landscape of ad networks, marketing tools, CRM tools, social media monitoring tools and analytics, and all those technologies. In fact, ChiefMartech.com has been keeping track of the marketing technology landscape for several years. In 2011, their chart showed about 100 company logos organized in a few categories. By 2015, there were close to 2,000 vendors organized in 43 different categories. The latest version of 2017 grew another 40% from 2016 to reach over 5,000 different solutions. So it's no surprise that the ecosystem is very, very complex. But the good news is, if you have a marketing idea, there's probably something out there to help you out. As a marketer, understanding what we call the technology stack is critical if you want to make the most of the tools and technologies you have at your disposal. In fact, understanding your marketing technology landscape is so important that Chief Martech asks people to submit their marketing stack. They could illustrate the value chain, a technical architecture, a customer journey map, a process flow diagram, a market strategy, or a capabilities matrix. They had to provide their own original view of how marketing technology is orchestrated in their organization. So Microsoft submitted this one. You don't have to create something fancy and fairly complex, but you get the grasp of the concept. Mapping your tech stack will help you leverage the power of each tool more efficiently and see how they can interact together to provide a more complete picture. This entry was the winner of the Chief Martech contest called the Stackies. If you do something like this, it doesn't have to be as complex as the next example shows. Talkwalker is a provider of social media monitoring services, and they disclose their own marketing stack. What is of particular interest here is their approach in the alignment life cycle: attract, nurture, convert, engage, and a last one for collaboration. As we see, some solutions are better suited to answer specific needs. Using services like Siftery.com, G2Crowd, or TrustRadius can help you identify the tools used by similar or competing companies. We didn't want to inundate you with too much technical info, Remember, the tech landscape is evolving very fast. New players are emerging on a daily basis, while others are being swallowed by bigger players or simply disappear. If you have a crazy marketing idea, there's probably a tool or many to help you out. Key takeaways. Marketing has evolved at a rapid pace in the past years, and understanding this evolution will help you leapfrog to its latest concepts and trends. Social media has transformed the way we interact with other people and with brands. MarTech, marketing and technology, applies to major initiatives, efforts, and tools that harness the power of technology to achieve marketing goals and objectives. In the third lesson, we looked at ways to develop and nurture a digital culture. In this lesson, you will learn about elements which will fuel and grow your digital culture. These are often borrowed from other proven disciplines such as management, finance, or business analysis. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the need for nurturing a digital culture, talk about the concept of digital marketing and analytics maturity, identify a simple workflow to manage your marketing and analytics priorities, think like a startup and use the concept of product thinking to bring success in your marketing strategies, and while doing so, keep in mind how to become a customer-centric organization. But what exactly is a digital culture? Nurturing a digital culture. What is a digital culture? We can consider there is a digital culture when we see most of these conditions. First, collaboration between employees is enhanced with collaborative tools, but also customers can contribute and participate more actively in the conception and improvement process. Second, accountability and independence. Employees know what decisions they are empowered to take and what rationale is required of them. This relates directly to the organization's ability to leverage data analysis to inform decisions. Third, transparency. There are different levels of openness, from blogging and employees' contribution to social media outreach, down to open data and visibility of leadership and their decision making. Fourth, customer centricity is certainly the most important aspect of a digital culture, but also requires a balance between customer needs and organizational imperatives. Customer needs should be considered regardless of their particular touchpoint and with an understanding of long-term customer value. And lastly, craft and development pertains to how employees' contributions are valued and their skills are developed. Sadly, there are numerous pitfalls and common barriers to a digital culture. The problem is there are numerous barriers to growing and nurturing a digital culture. Maybe it's easier to start with a discussion about the barriers hindering the adoption of a digital culture. First, there's a slow or stalled decision-making caused by internal politics, competing priorities, or attempting to reach consensus. There's also an inability to prove business value of digital through traditional return on investment calculations, resulting in a lack of senior management sponsorship. Third, there's sometimes too much focus on technology rather than willingness to address deep change and rethink how people work. Next, there's a lack of understanding operational issues at the decision-making level and difficulties when going from theory to practice. And finally, there's a fear of losing control by management of or central functions and fears that employees will waste time on the internet or social platforms. Those are very common issues, and you have probably witnessed some or many of those. The organizational culture will often make a big difference in the way those barriers can be overcome. There are ways to overcome those barriers. The corporate culture varies a lot by organization size, industry, geographic, and cultural norms, whether it's a startup or a long-established organization. Oftentimes, even with a sclerosed organization, we can see pockets of more flexible and agile teams striving to make a difference. And marketing is often one of those groups. So consider the culture that you can put in place to accentuate or alleviate these obstacles. You can have a strong and shared sense of purpose. You can give more freedom to experiment rather than having strict compliance and processes in place. You can delegate and distribute the decision-making process. You can open the influence of the external world instead of being very strict about what can be done internally. Digital marketing and analytics maturity. I created the digital analytics maturity model in 2009 when I witnessed so many organizations trying to become more data savvy but failing. Years later, many agencies and organizations still use this simple framework or other similar ones to assess their current situation and provide a structured, actionable path toward improving competence and leveraging data and analytics for enterprise-wide business decision-making. It provides an unbiased and easy to understand representation of your organization's expectations and commitment to your marketing and analytics infrastructure and initiatives. From your objectives, scope and resources, to your methodology, tools, and management, the model illustrates whether your organization is engaged in the critical data gathering and customer insight sharing activities required for your business success. The model helps you to expose areas for improvement in the alignment of people, process, and technologies with the declared objective and scope of marketing and analytics initiatives. Create a roadmap of specific and achievable improvements that will move your organization further on the path of digital marketing and analytics maturity. Balance all the key areas to reap and gain experience and confidence before growing your digital marketing and analytics maturity. Provides upper and middle management with a powerful communication and persuasion tool that can be used to drive a message of organizational change. The 6 key areas of success are governance, culture, and adoption relates to what we just discussed. If senior executives are fostering change, are data savvy, and customer centric, those are all positive indication of higher maturity. Scope and objectives refers to how well defined and aligned our business objectives and marketing initiatives, and how big a playground you need to manage narrow campaign-specific or global-scale multi-brand complex ecosystem. Team and expertise addresses the current roles and responsibilities of the team, but also extend to include outside consultants and partners. Do you have the right skills and experience to grow your digital culture? Continuous improvement process and methodology is about how you manage workflows and tasks. Are you improvising, or have you embraced a proven methodology like Lean Six Sigma, which we will discuss next? And lastly, tools, data, and technology is not a matter of which tools you pay for, but all about your ability to leverage them. Of all the factors, this is probably the one that has the less influence towards success when balanced with the other ones. We could spend a whole course discussing about digital marketing maturity, but let's focus on 2 questions most often raised by marketers. Is there a simple workflow that will help me become a better marketer? And how do I define a good marketing objective? We look at a workflow for marketing and analytics priorities. Continuous process and improvement methodology. Benchmark data collected from the Digital Analytics Maturity self-assessment tool revealed the weakest spot is often the continuous process and improvement methodology dimension. The simple truth is that marketers and analysts need a simple workflow with a well-defined tools and techniques to measure and repeat success while learning about what doesn't work. The Lean Six Sigma methodology is well documented. Plenty of training is available. It is taught in multiple university programs, and there are plenty of resources available to learn about it. The methodology core principle revolves around the 5 simple steps of analysis: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. The methodology defines a set of practices aimed at systematically improving processes by eliminating defect and reducing the cost of complexity, thus being customer-centric and making it easy to do business with. It involves a well-defined set of tools to segment, slice and dice data in order to understand what needs to be optimized. And it works well in an environment where things are changing continuously. And that's exactly the reality of marketing. Accelerating the DMAIC are increasing velocity. And increased velocity implies reducing the time between the moment a problem is identified and the moment a problem is solved, or the moment an opportunity arises and the moment you can capture it with a marketing initiative. What is product thinking? Ultimately, there are only a few valid end goals for any organization of any type, of any size or industry. The closer to the left your objective is, the more tangible and easy to measure it will be. So while marketers typically aim to increase revenue, consider the other alternatives. You might think of satisfaction of all stakeholders, not only clients, but also satisfaction from your internal managers, from employees, so that you retain your good employees longer, satisfaction from suppliers, so that you have a great relationship with them. What about investors, government, corporate citizenship aspects? So all of those will influence the engagement in the long run. So again, while you look at revenue, think of how you can influence the online behavior in order to generate maybe offline conversions and greater revenue. Think of how reducing the costs through better shipping processes and fewer returns will increase profit. So combining engagement and profit together will lead to a greater sustainability in the long run. So it might sound easy to define a goal aligned to this concept, but sitting down and actually going through the exercise is quite difficult. In the past, it was recommended to define a SMART objective, maybe something you've heard about in the past. But most people had difficulties defining a good objective that would answer each of specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Luckily, you can now use a simpler approach called product thinking. Defining business objective through product thinking. You might have heard this before. How you measure success depends on how you define success. Any successful marketing campaign starts with a well-defined objective. Yet, even companies who pride themselves on being customer-centric often fail to put the user first when defining objectives. Lately, the concept of product thinking, which stems from user experience and product design, have proven to be a simple approach which lead to clearer business and marketing objectives, along with measurable outcome. Simply put, product thinking is all about making it easy to do business with. With a resolutely put the user first, what the problem is and what you are trying to solve. For whom we do this and for which audience segment we do it. The second step of product thinking approach is to look at what is the job to be done. What is the vision? Why are you doing this? And what is the strategy? In which way are you going to do it? And this will fill the gap between what your customer needs and expect versus what you can do as an organization to fulfill those needs and expectations. The third step is going to be about the output. What do we want to achieve? What is the goal here? And what features are we going to implement to create in order to fulfill those needs and expectations? When we combine those three steps, we end up with a nice fill-in-the-blank statement. In order to achieve our vision, our product or service will solve a specific user problem for a target audience by giving them some strategy, some features, functionalities, unique value proposition. And we will know it works when we're going to be able to measure progress against a realistic goal. Once you can identify your strengths and weaknesses, you can build a more realistic action plan. With the simple DMAIC cycle we just discussed, you can manage the workflow. Product thinking will help you identify relevant goals and a way to measure progress. In the next few slides, we look at a few tips to keep in mind when developing your digital marketing strategy. Organizational change for customer centricity. Changing the organizational culture. When clients are asked, are you customer centric? Are you data driven? They obviously tend to answer by the affirmative. But what are the actual signals that demonstrate a digital culture? They are more employee and customer centric. They foster collaboration, responsiveness, service agility, positive competition, and value independent contributors. They have meaningful customer service values. They listen to what customers have to say. They harness data and optimize day-to-day processes. Customer service values are clearly embedded in the organization purpose. They empower employees. Frontline employees put the customer at the center of all they do. Leaders keep an ear to the ground and have access to information from the field. There's a sense of accountability. Customer-driven metrics are shared at all levels of the hierarchy. Leaders walk the talk. They do not focus exclusively on performance measurement, and they model the desired behavior through action, conversation, professional development, and they celebrate success with the team. As you can imagine, at the end of the day, most of those points are really about change management. We have a nice example with the L'Oréal Digital Transformation Initiative. With 4 billion queries annually, beauty is one of the most searched terms on the internet. At first glance, beauty and technology do not go hand in hand. Consumers prefer the real experience, seeing what a product looks or smells like before making a decision. More recently, a new hybrid millennial consumer is emerging, who is mixing online and offline channels as source of information and purchase. For instance, when shopping in store, 80% of women in the US use their smartphone to get product details before they buy. Meaning, there could be up to 40 points of contact before a purchase even takes place. For L'Oréal, digital transformation has not only been felt in product development. The changing relationship with their consumers is a central focus of their digital efforts. Digital technology has opened up many opportunities to interact and connect with their consumers. This more personal approach to consumer communication has changed the way L'Oréal markets. Marie Gullain-Mel, CMO of L'Oréal USA, highlights 3 key areas of digital transformation. First, make it personal. The best and most memorable experiences are the ones that feel personal. Find ways to be relevant and assistive to individuals in their moments of needs. Harness the power of data. Your customers are leaving digital footprints every time they search or watch a video. These actions contain powerful insights which can be used to predict customer needs and inform your marketing strategies. Reimagine storytelling. Test new creative ways to tell stories to better engage mobile consumers. Next, we see a few points which will affect your customer experience positively or not. Here are a few do's and don'ts of digital marketing. Don't interrupt the user experience with pop-ups. Don't purchase email lists because anyway, your email campaign is likely going to be considered as spam. It's much better to build your own mailing list and have people opt in. Whenever possible, don't gate your content behind a paywall or a complex form. You want your content to be as easily and as widely accessible as possible. But of course, there are exceptions to that rule. Don't fake live events. If you are going to make a live webcast, make it really live, or people will find about it. Avoid blindly auto-posting across several social outlets. Each social platform has their own unique way of engaging their users. You should adapt to this way of doing it. Gut feel management is very risky in digital marketing. Instead, you can leverage data and analytics, a topic that we will discuss again a bit later. So the positive side, you can advertise wisely and think holistically. Adapt to persona, life cycle, and channel as we've seen previously. Show a genuine interest about your audience, show who you are, and nurture your social presence. Don't create a fake personality when you communicate on social media. You can think like a startup. Think of what is the minimum viable product that you can act today and leverage product thinking. Mobile and tablet often account for more than desktop traffic. So people are not often thinking in terms of mobile first. And you can measure marketing efficiency and business outcomes with analytics. In section 1, we talk about the fundamental concepts of digital marketing. In lesson 4, we look at where digital marketing is headed. Digital marketing is an umbrella term that refers to the activities, technologies, and services which allow brands to market themselves online through websites, search engines, mobile apps, social media, email, and Internet of Things. There's a lot to it. In this lesson, we will look at the emerging concepts and trends in digital marketing. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the impact of digital marketing, compare brand marketing with direct response, identify the fading and emerging marketing concepts. What is the impact of digital marketing? The advent of digital marketing changed the assets used by companies to reach and talk to their audience. Those assets are your website, your blog, the ebooks or white paper you publish online, infographics, your social media accounts, and more. It also opened a number of new tactics with an unprecedented level of data and measurability. Be it search engine optimization, SEO for short, content marketing, inbound marketing, pay-per-click or PPC campaigns, those empower organizations to measure their audience, website traffic, see which language resonates the best and lead to an increase in desired business outcomes, and even attributes those outcomes back to the assets and tactics that works the best. The advent of the web over 25 years ago has radically transformed the portfolio of assets, the potential tactics, and the business possibilities available to marketers. This has shaken down the old ways of doing marketing and lighted new heated debates among marketers. We contrast brand marketing versus direct response. We often joke the best outcome of a marketing campaign that failed to address the right audience and didn't have any objective is, oh, it was just for brand awareness. At the opposite end of the spectrum, direct response pundits believe strongly that there's only one way to communicate with an audience: make an offer. Another way to view it is upper versus lower funnel. Brand marketers understand and believe in branding, public relations, social media, and other forms of marketing communication which can be measured in terms of response. The number of sessions on your website, the search volumes, the social media listening or surveys, and conversations. But because their goals and objectives are often very different than producing direct response sales, they never compare positively. Brand marketers measure awareness, which aids in conversion but doesn't necessarily produce it. Brand marketing can also have the goals of reputation management, customer service, community engagement, advocacy, and more. Direct response, on the other hand, is measured in terms of response rate, clicks, sessions, and conversion rate, transactions, and revenues. Direct marketing without brand marketing is less efficient. It's not a matter of comparing brand marketing conversion rates to direct marketing conversion rates. It's a matter of analyzing direct marketing conversion rates with and without it. In the past, newspapers, TV, and radio were brand marketing channels and aimed to gain awareness. Today's approach tends to be more on the direct response side. Let's look at an actual example to make it clearer. We can look at a brand marketing versus direct response example. You might have a paid media campaign to increase awareness of your brand. A customer visits your site and browses for some products but does not purchase at this time. You use a retargeting campaign, which is a paid media in this case, to drive this person back to the site with the objective of subscribing to your newsletter. So this is a direct response campaign. You know from previous analysis that subscribers to your newsletter, the newsletter itself is an owned media, are more likely to visit your physical store when offered a discount on an item which is complementary to the category they initially looked at. So the direct response and offline conversion with a coupon that has a unique trackable code tying back to this specific customer. In this scenario, various tactics are used as part of your marketing mix, and the reality of online and offline consumer experience is leveraged. With this example, which is fairly representative of what happens today, we get a glimpse at the complexity of the marketing mix. Let's see how those tactics have evolved from the traditional approach to the digital world. What are some digital marketing trends? Marketing has evolved in many ways, and thanks to digital, some old ways of doing marketing have been superseded by new approaches. For example, brand awareness budgets tend to be reallocated to conversion optimization activities. Broadcasting and marketing blasts are now one-on-one marketing and marketing automation. Push tactics like cold calls are now self-service pull marketing tactics. Instead of merely measuring visits to a website, we now strive to measure real users, customers, people. In face of an ever-diminishing efficiency of ad banners, marketers do more sophisticated segmentation and real-time adjustments. Long planning cycles and fixed-in-stone marketing campaigns are now embracing agile management concepts. And finally, the discipline used to be called web analytics is shifting toward analytics, where the goal is to understand a business context, leverage all the data at our disposal, and propose new innovative solutions to continuously improve outcomes. There are numerous tools to support you in this transformation, but particularly for the last point, a cultural change is required. Forbes identified top trends driving marketing. Those should serve as guidelines in your digital transformation. New trends are emerging all the time in digital marketing. An interesting article on Forbes highlights a few points we should remember. Focus on the complete customer journey experience across all touchpoints and for the whole customer lifetime. We also want to measure with a purpose. Some call it Analytics 2.0. But business objectives need to tie back to revenue, customer retention, satisfaction, and profit, a bit like we discussed when we talked about the ultimate goals. The rise of the marketing technologist and data scientists and senior role like chief marketing technologist reinforces the importance of understanding the marketing technology landscape and leveraging data and analytics to improve and optimize your marketing campaigns. The era of broadcasting and shouting on every possible channel is over, so you want to personalize every experience. You want to create better and more videos, especially immersive experience and high-quality videos. The usage of social media marketing is evolving very quickly. The rules on Facebook, for example, have changed in regards to promoted posts. And you want to engage in a real and genuine conversation and be natural on social media. You can leverage social media advertising to present your ads. Embrace the Internet of Things, beacons, sensors, edge service, intelligent TVs, intelligent clothing, but be careful of abuse of those concepts and technologies. Chatbots and artificial intelligence are becoming mainstream. There are preemptive services, automation, and ways to guide consumer behavior. Right time marketing, the right person, the right channel, the right moment, and the right answer is becoming very important in marketing. So marketing leading to digital transformation of campaigns within the organization by demonstrating how it affects the customer experience and outcome of those campaigns. If you want to develop a digital marketing strategy, see how those points could be leveraged to your advantage. This is exactly what Navdi, a Silicon Valley startup, did with their head-up car display device. Navdi is a California-based startup offering a head-up display for your car, an Internet of Things device that connects to car sensors, provides voice recognition, gesture control, a camera, a GPS, and a lot more. They started with absolutely no internet presence and gradually cranked up their marketing through a mix of branded and direct response, offline and online campaigns, PR, paid search engine optimization, banners, remarketing, social presence and ads, etc. So products are affected by those innovative marketing trends, and those also change the way marketers do their work. Key takeaways. There are 3 key takeaways from this lesson. Digital is transformational, just like electricity was at the turn of the last century, of possibilities only limited by your creativity. Both brand marketing and direct response marketing tactics are relevant at different stages of the customer lifecycle. Digital marketing is moving fast, and some popular tactics from just a couple of years ago are now considered too annoying and counterproductive. Those should be replaced by new methods. In lesson number 5, we look at the global impact digital marketing might have on an organization. In this lesson, we look at the global organizational impacts of digital marketing, more specifically from an organizational structure point of view. When embracing digital marketing, organizations are faced with the challenge of centralizing to ensure control, consistency and economies of scale, or delegating at the local level to offer a better tailored consumer experience. Which is best? At the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the best governance styles for your organization, discuss various techniques to enhance the effectiveness of your digital marketing team. But let's first look at governance style found in organizations. Governance styles. Governance styles. What is your current marketing team structure? At lower maturity levels, we often see a centralized approach, while the most frequent structure for more mature organization is the hub and spoke model. Organizing for digital also needs to fit the way your company is structured. Think about shared, mature functions like HR, finance, and IT. Are they centralized, distributed? Maybe it's a mix. We usually see a progression where digital starts from the edge of an organization, as opposed to a top-down CMO or CEO mandate, that is characterized by limited point-to-point connections between groups involved in digital marketing campaigns, but without a single team acting as the center of gravity for digital business practice. Over time, many organizations begin with an ad hoc structure, often due to the lack of senior leader accountable for digital media, then migrate to a centralized model to control organic growth, which might have the undesired side effect of over-control, a slower pace, and rogue initiatives. And finally, to a hub-and-spoke model, once an enterprise-level strategy and governance system is in place that gives spokes autonomy to apply digital to their area. A company culture that is risk-averse, such as financial services and healthcare, is more likely to be organized as a centralized group, while organizations more accepting of risk are willing to organize around the hub-and-spoke model, which grants autonomy to business units and functions. Even in the case of risk-averse organizations, we see an eventual migration to hub-and-spoke, but it takes time to build governance practice. Even after considering these factors, know that your structure will likely evolve over time as your digital business matures and confidence to grant autonomy to departments outside the digital team grows. The centralized approach often revolves around what is called a center of excellence. Digital Marketing Center of Excellence evolution. A digital marketing center of excellence is an organizational design approach which maximizes the potential opportunities of digital media and technology to meet marketing goals, encourage adoption of best practices, educate business stakeholders, and provide technology and insight across the organization. Initially, in the first stage, the team aimed to define overarching guidelines by establishing fundamental policies like campaign management, rules and guidelines, measurement standards through key performance indicators, or KPIs for short, define basic procedures for handling trouble tickets or requesting analysis help, and implement the initial governance process. In the second phase of the Digital Marketing Center of Excellence evolution, they will act as a product and test infrastructure utility. The Center of Excellence will work as a shared service. Their goal is to consolidate cost and procurement. They want to set up and maintain the enabling capabilities of marketing. The team will aim to achieve training and certification. In the third phase, the group will act as a central source of service and expertise for the entire organization. This includes domain-specific expertise, shared services teams for specialized activities. Finally, in the fourth phase, the group will act as an innovation authority and flexible resource pool. The Center of Excellence functions as a service to business teams. They offer resources, methodologies, tools, expertise, governance, and cross-functional analytics expertise. Obviously, throughout those phases, change management is critical and onboarding members from the extended team is essential. One governance aspect touches on the breakdown of tasks related to campaigns. Some techniques to enhance digital marketing efficiency. So it's useful to define what we call a marketing activity taxonomy. So we have four major levels: campaign, program, tactics, and playbook. So at the campaign level, we have theme-based initiatives. What is the campaign going to be about? It should focus on the need of your target audience and offer tangible solutions, and is obviously very specific to the industry. But this leads to a program on how this is going to be executed. So is it going to be about reputation management, demand creation, sales, or maybe market intelligence? So when comes the time to actually execute the program, you need some tactics. And those tactics are basically what we talked about. Are you going to use paid search, display advertising, email campaigns, social, and so on? And over time, you will develop playbooks, your own way of doing your best practices internally. So those playbooks might be about how to do specific activities like managing AdWords campaigns on Google. It can define the processes that you need to go through in order to get approval for new initiatives. It includes best practices, measurement strategy, and of course, campaign naming conventions, which are going to be very important because those will allow you to tie back in a simple way the source of traffic to your site and the actual outcome. So overall, what you want to look at is what kind of digital marketing campaign do you want to launch? How will it impact the global or local levels? Which outcome do we expect? Is it going to be a brand awareness and a reputation campaign, or a campaign about a brand new product? Where will it run? Over which mediums and tactics? And how are we going to make it happen? So as an example, we can look at a pharmaceutical company who went through the process of establishing a center of excellence. In the case of this pharmaceutical company, a very large organization with hundreds of different brands of drugs, sometimes with different names for each specialized local market. So management was also very sensible and aware of privacy implications in this industry. In fact, local marketing teams often worked with local agencies because they knew more about the local market. And this led to potentially using different marketing technologies altogether. So in this case, the approach, because they already had brand guidelines defined at the headquarter level, they opted to create a central team which was tasked to define global level key performance indicator, tracking requirements, and reporting structure. Later, a hub and spoke model naturally emerged, allowing the local marketing team to comply with headquarter requirements while having a certain level of flexibility to improve and extend the minimal sets of requirements. Deploying at such a large scale had to begin with a minimum viable product. Attempting to impose a rigid requirements and implement complex requirements would have alienated the remote teams and led to the natural tendency to bypass the headquarters standards. So one important activity conducted with the extended team pertained to the clarification of roles and responsibilities using what is known as a RACI matrix. A responsibility assignment matrix, also known as a RACI matrix, participation by various roles in completing tasks or deliverables for a project or business process. It is especially useful in clarifying roles and responsibilities in cross-functional or departmental projects and processes. So we define 4 main roles. The first one is responsible. Those who do the work to achieve the task. There's usually at least one role with a participation type of responsible, and other people can be delegated to assist in the work required. The second one is accountable, or think of it as the approver or the final approving authority. This is the person ultimately who can answer for the correct and completion of the deliverable or task, and the one who delegates the work to those responsible. In other words, an accountable must sign off or approve work that responsible people provides. There must be only one accountable specific for each task or deliverable. Consulted, sometimes consultant or counsel, those are the people whose opinions are sought for, typically subject matter experts, and with whom there is two-way communication. And the last one is informed, also informee. Those people are kept up to date on progress, often only on completion of the task or deliverable, and with whom there is just a one-way communication. Maybe the best way to describe that is to give another example. In the case of a local media player, they had a dozen of websites covering news, automotive, sports, and so on. Each product owner was left to define their marketing strategies, use whichever KPIs and analytics they pleased, leading to a mixed level of interest and maturity toward digital marketing and analytics. So in this case, the approach was that a newly appointed VP of marketing gave them some time to come up with their recommended KPIs and requirements. But seeing that it wasn't really working and going anywhere, the manager eventually imposed a solution and requested a clearly defined set of KPIs be delivered on a weekly basis. The level of maturity quickly increased under his management, but when he got promoted to a different role in the organization, teams eventually dropped down to a lower level of maturity. They had lost their executive sponsor, their champion. As we see in this example, the concept of global versus local is a matter of scale. In fact, we should talk about centralized versus decentralized approach. If we had to choose a brand that exemplifies many aspects of the digital transformation, Red Bull would certainly be an excellent choice. Red Bull is actually an Austrian company, but they do such a great job with their global marketing effort that actually many Americans assume that it's a local brand. The way they do it is, one of their most successful tactics is to host extreme sports events all over the world, from the Red Bull Indianapolis Grand Prix to the Red Bull Hair Race in the United Kingdom or the Red Bull Crashed Ice in Quebec City. The brand's powerful event marketing strategy takes them here, there, and everywhere. Red Bull would probably not exist if it wasn't for the digital economy, social media, digital marketing. In fact, is Red Bull really an energy drink company or an extreme sports promoter or a media company? So Red Bull managed its brands to perfection and leveraged digital marketing and social media to the max. Key takeaways. The two main points to remember from this lesson are the following. Whether it is best to have a global digital marketing approach or a local one is largely determined by the size, type, and culture of the organization. Organizing around a center of excellence, defining your marketing activity taxonomy, and building a RACI matrix of tasks, roles, and responsibilities are sound strategies to foster effectiveness and collaboration of your digital marketing team. Are interesting points, but let's see how Santa Claus applied those guidelines. The Portable North Pole is a Montreal-based small startup with a mission: bring joy to the kids and grown-ups, with personalized Santa Claus and other characters' messages delivered in full HD video. It's web-based, but it's also available on mobile. They have a very short marketing window. It's only in the month of December, and after that it's over. They are highly digital. They use paid search, banners, remarketing, word of mouth through social, and they nurture previous year clients to grow their share of wallet. Their target audience are parents, but obviously also their kids. But there are a multitude of other personas, like spouses, colleagues, friends. You probably have many ideas in mind already, but the next section will look at current trends and where digital marketing is headed. Key takeaways. As a conclusion to this lesson on digital culture, we should remember the following points. Although there's plenty of obstacles and challenges to develop and nurture a digital culture, there's also concrete actions and steps you can take to foster change. Assessing your digital marketing and analytics maturity will help uncover strengths and weaknesses to develop a more realistic roadmap. Embracing a proven problem-solving and agile workflow like Lean Six Sigma will go a long way in structuring your work and demonstrating value to the organization. Use the concept of product thinking to develop relevant marketing objectives and communicate them more effectively to the organization. And finally, to truly become a customer-centric organization, it is important that every process is designed and executed with customer satisfaction in mind.